directly out of the chimney, causing him serious physical, emotional, and financial damage. The evidence will also show that the damage done to B.B. Wolf was not an accident or simple negligence, but a deliberate act of battery set in motion by the defendant, Curly Pig. Curly Pig, that B.B. Wolf believed to be his friend. At the close of the case, we will ask you to award Mr. Wolf $2,250,000 in damages, to pay his medical bills, and to remind Curly Pig that such conduct will not be tolerated in Fantasyland.
You may now hear the opening statement.
I'm sorry. This woman is claiming to be, sometimes she claims to be the wife of, Your Honor, sometimes she claims to be the wife of former President Wilson, sometimes she claims to be a retired school teacher in South Gwinnett High School, for all I know she's claiming to be Michelle Obama, Your Honor. All I do is, Your Honor, please allow me to complete my objection, Your Honor. But what I do know is that she is not an attorney authorized to practice in this state, and we would ask that the bailiff please remove her from the courtroom.
Your Honor, may I approach the bench?
Yes.
I have permission from the Supreme Court of Georgia to be here today and to practice law in this court.
Judge Brown, you have a long history as a jurist in this state. When was the last time you saw an official document from the Supreme Court of Georgia laminated?
Your Honor, it's your Honor, it's a Commonwealth school teacher. Let's just want to preserve it for history, Judge.
Well, we will withdraw our objection, Your Honor. We will withdraw our objection. Then,
The evidence will be accepted in court.
Your Honor, we'll withdraw our objection. Would you please instruct Ms. Melvin to maintain the appropriate level of decorum for your courtroom, because she did not go to law school and may not know what's expected in an attorney here?
Your Honor, I know what's expected. I will ask for that.
So duly noted.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Jury, my name is Marlene Melvin, and together with my two brilliant co-counselors, we'll be representing the defendant in this case, that cute little sexy, that little adorable Curly Pig sitting over there. Now, we don't dispute the fact that Mr. Wolf was injured in Curly's chimney when Curly lifted that lid on that pot of water he was boiling for tea. We don't dispute that at all. What we do dispute is who was in the wrong in this case. But the evidence will show that B.B. Wolf is a trespasser. B.B. Wolf's a criminal, and B.B. Wolf was totally responsible.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. Normally, I would not object. Your opening statement is spitting on my phone. And given that we're finding the pig, and given that he has a seriously compromised immune system as a result of the vicious act perpetrated on him by that Curly Pig, we would ask that you instruct Mrs. Melvin to stay at least 5 feet away from my client at all times.
I'll be glad to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you. As I was saying when I was so rudely interrupted, the facts will show that B.B. Wolf's a trespasser, B.B. Wolf's a criminal, and B.B. Wolf is totally responsible for his own injuries, because it's B.B. Wolf who put himself in harm's way and assumed the risk of all that happened to him. That pot on which that lid was removed was located inside Curly's own home, a home Curly had told Mr. Wolf he could not enter, and yet he tried to come in, sneaking in without Curly's permission. And all Curly was trying to do, ladies and gentlemen, was to protect his home and his life. This will also show something else. It's going to show that B.B. Wolf's actions that day were just the latest in a long series of bad acts, which included the eating of Curly's brother, Larry and Mo. When Curly lifted the lid, he was only trying to protect his life and prevent that vicious killer from killing again. Curly Pig denies all of Wolf's false and evil charges. And he looks to you, and you for justice. This case is over. We're going to ask you to bring back a verdict that speaks the truth. A A verdict in favor, my adorable, my little sexy, my cute little climber there. There it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. State your name for the record.
My name is Big Bad Wolf. Most of my friends call me BB.
Where do you live, Phoebe?
Oh, I've got a nice little den on the Fairytale Lane. It's got a redwood panel and I've got a nice TV too.
Does it have a kitchen?
Well, I eat out a lot.
I see. Well, let's move on to the morning of August 19th, 2006. Do you recall your whereabouts that morning?
Quite clearly, in fact. I was taking my usual morning walk and passed the house of my old pal, Curly Pig. I like this house. It's quite well built, you know. And I thought I'd pay Curly a visit and tell him what a fine job he has done in building this house. It is. Anyway, I knocked on the door and called out his name, but there was no answer. So I knocked harder and called out louder. But there was still no answer. And then I sat down on the front porch to wait. I figured Curl was probably out at the store or something and would be back in a minute. See my old buddy. I don't get into the neighborhood all that often. Then it hit me. Curl was real sound sleeper, probably sleeping in. I thought if I just left without speaking to him, he'd be upset that I had awakened him. So I tried to think of a way I could get into the house to wake him up. I thought, and finally it came to me. I could climb down the chimney.
And did you climb down the chimney?
Well, yes, you know, that is, I started to, but when I got almost all the way down, Curly took the lid off of the pot, off of a large pot of boiling water and fire.
Objection!
Your Honor, could you please allow my client to... Your Honor, would you please ask defense counsel not to interrupt my client?
I agree.
Your Honor, he hasn't finished his answer yet. Could it be allowed to finish, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, lucky for me, he wanted me to fall into the kettle.
Objection! The witness is guessing as to my client. Objection. Motive. Thank you.
Yes, he is, Your Honor. He's objecting to our client's notice in removing the lid.
I agree. The objection is sustained. Continue, Mr. Wilson.
Well, lucky for me, the steam was so powerful, it just sort of whooshed me right up and out the chimney. I took off down the street as fast as I could and decided Curly Pig was no friend of mine.
Well, I can certainly see why you would reach that conclusion, Dee Dee. Well, tell me, did you suffer any injuries as a result of Curly Pig's awful act?
I certainly did. I lost all my hair and got blisters all over my back. I was in the hospital for over a month, and my girlfriend left me because of my looks.
Your Honor, I want to object at this time that she didn't leave him because of anything my client did to him. He's always been here. He was born with him.
You're not going to allow him to insult my client that way, are you?
The truth is the truth.
Your Honor! Thank you, Your Honor. I'm sorry. Complaints about your hospital bills?
The hospital bills were high, real high. In fact, I had to sell my TV to pay the vet. Curly Pig should have to pay for what he did.
He certainly should. Well, thank you, Dee Dee. No further questions, Your Honor.
Very well. The defense may cross-examine.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Wolf, exactly where were you when you were injured on August 19, 2006?
I was in Curly's chimney.
Did you not have Mr. Pig's permission to be in his chimney, did you?
Well, no, but...
So, in fact, you were trespassing on Mr. Pig's property when you injuries occurred. Isn't that correct?
I didn't see it as trespassing. I was just trying to visit my old friend.
Visiting a friend? You weren't invited. Mr. Pig didn't know you were coming. You were trying to break in his house by climbing down into me? Is that your testimony?
See, you twisting my words, trying to make me look bad.
Make yourself look bad. In fact, of the matter is that you were breaking into my client's house to eat curly pig just as you ate his two brothers. Isn't that true?
Objection. Attacking my client's character.
Go to motion, Your Honor.
The objection is overruled.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Plaintiff calls Prunella Croon. Please state your name for the record.
My name is Prunella Croon.
Where do you live, Prunella?
I live where you live. My cousin was an architect and he designed the house before he died. There's not another one like it anywhere. It's from the tour of homes each spring and it was even featured in Fancy Home magazine last year.
That's nice, Prunella. Now, are you acquainted with the plaintiff in this case, B.B. Wolf?
Certainly am. Mr. Wolf is a wonderful, good neighbor. Why, just a few weeks ago, she brought over some bacon and ham. Me and my youngest.
Let's move on. Are you acquainted with the defendant in this case, Curly Pig?
Yes, I am. He is Nellie Brother who lived in our neighborhood for 7 years. This is when his brother disappeared. What a blessing that was. The neighborhood really went to the pigs when they moved in, if you know what I mean.
I do indeed. Well, tell me, Prunella, where were you on the morning of August 19th?
Well, I was in my yard watering my plants.
Did anything unusual happen at that time?
Yes, it did. B.B. Wolf came by and said he was going to visit Curly Pig. I couldn't understand why. Who would want to wallow in that pig's thigh, Ashley?
Really not me. Well, did you happen to see B.B. Wolf later that day?
Yes, he came living by my house about 3 hours later. All his hair was burnt. He looked like a skinned pussy. I drove him to the hospital where he had to stay for over a month. The whole thing.
It's not hearsay, Your Honor. It's an admission against interest by the defendant. Your Honor, would you please hold defense counsel in contempt if she sits down before she hears your ruling on her objection?
I certainly will concur the objection is overruled.
Thank you, Your Honor. Prunella, how did you feel about Curly Pig saying that B.B. Wolf had eaten his brothers?
I was serious, and I didn't believe him for B.B. Wolf was a loving, kind-hearted guy.
Thank you, Prunella. No further questions, Your Honor.
Very well. You may cross-examine, counsel.
Kind-hearted? Are those words you use to describe yourself in time?
Absolutely.
Aren't you the old woman who locked her children up and beat them and sent them to bed?
Well, yes, but they deserved it. They were monsters.
And I suppose you agree that mixed with B.B. Wolf that Curly Pig deserves to be eaten. Is that what you think?
Only if he tastes good in his burger.
That's what I thought. No further questions, Your Honor.